predictions and just leftover thoughts, really. So I guess I'll start. One thing that I am really nervous about is that the Chiefs cornerbacks like to hold receivers a lot. They really do. And I think what the Bills did in their earlier matchup is kind of take a page out of their book and do that to the Chiefs. And you saw early on there were a lot of illegal contacts against the Bills, but eventually it seemed like the refs might have swallowed their whistle because they were like, all right, let's get the game going. Let's get the game going. Not to mention, this is the playoffs. I think that the refs are more likely to just say, whatever, just let them play, unless it's something really, really egregious, right? And we saw multiple holding calls that could have been, flagged against during the last AFC Championship game, but it didn't happen. I got my eye on Chris Jones because he was a big problem on the interior against John Feliciano, and he got punched in the head. And that wasn't a great day. Okafor also had a pretty good day, if I'm not mistaken. The Bills should definitely test the run. Statistically, the Chiefs aren't that great, and Devin Singletary is looking real good as that bell cow back. And then, lastly, for my prediction, I'm going to say Bills win. I felt nervous about the Patriots game, and I'm nervous for all of these games. Don't get me wrong. But I really do think that the Bills are a way more complete team at this point. And if they can play at that potential, there's no team that they can't beat. Regardless of what happens on Sunday, a Goliath is going down in the AFC playoff picture. So it's kind of like exercise your demons now, Bills, because if you beat the Chiefs, I really don't think there's a team on the other side of the brackets, whether that's the Bengals or the Titans, that could necessarily take you down. You go through the Chiefs, hey, who knows?
Yeah, so for me, this weekend is where the playoffs really start to me. We've seen since they've added that 7th playoff spot, the super wild card weekend, it hasn't been much intrigue. You saw blowouts all over the place, and
I don't know about you, I liked them.
Yeah, it's fun. It's a little more football, but it's there's not a huge amount of surprises in that first weekend typically. So
what are you talking about? Hold on. You didn't think the Cowboys losing in the first round was a surprise?
Me personally, no.
Yeah, no, I didn't think that. I'm being facetious.
Okay, I'm making sure.
Yeah, and I also didn't think the Cardinals losing was a surprise either. I was telling my buddies, and we're getting off topic here, but I never, the Cardinals were on an early rip, but I was thinking to myself, like, this team's not it. They're gonna get figured out, and they did, and they had a really bad game.
Yeah, they never came back.
Yeah, so sorry to cut you off here.
You're good.
Keep going.
Yeah, so kind of like you were mentioning, a Goliath is going to go down this weekend. This is where, for me, the big dominoes start to fall, and it's really, you can do whatever matchups you want. This team's better at this, blah, 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 all that. But what it really comes down to this time of the year is the execution. All the teams that are here belong here. And I'm glad you brought up the officiating from last year's Kansas City game too, because I think that's part of getting to this level and getting that playoff experience of seeing, different officiating groups are calling games a little bit different. And I think with another year of playoff experience, if the game starts going like it did last year, I think you might see a little bit of a mindset shift on how our team plays, lining up to how the refs are calling the game. But like you said, I agree. I got a Bills W here. I had some weird concerns about the Patriots game, but when I look at that one in hindsight, it went about how it should have gone. The Chiefs team, it's, it's a nice feather in the cap that we did beat them earlier in the season. But I don't want to hedge too much on that. They're a completely
They definitely remember that too.
yeah, and they're a completely different team now than they were then. So I wouldn't even expect a ton to transfer over from that game. I think this is basically two teams looking at each other for the first time this year.
Right.
I think we're going to see some high flying offense, and I think the over under on this game is like 55. I think it goes over that pretty easily.
Right.
But I think the Bills kind of check into that run game they were able to discover, and including Josh Allen in that, some quarterback runs, some Singletary involved, and bring a little bit of balance to the offense, and complement it with the defense and pull it out.
Right. So I'll kind of end on these predictors here. ESPN matchup predictor says that the Bills have a 52.1% chance of winning this game, as opposed to the Chiefs, who have a 47.9%. When it comes to over/under, yeah, you're right. It's 55 points. Definitely going over. Put me down on that. And I'm not a money gambler person, but when I made these pre-show notes earlier in the day, the spread was a spread. I'm not a gambler. Again, was 2.5 Chiefs. Now it comes down to 2, and essentially 2.5 right off the bat. Like, you get 3, to my understanding, if you're the home team. So right off the bat, when I was looking at this morning, it was clear, at least from what I was getting, that they just don't know. They're just like, basically pick a team. It could actually go either way. And the fact that it dropped another half point from when I wrote these notes to right now is more indicative of that. Not to mention the weather should be good. 37 degrees and cloudy, according to AccuWeather on ESPN. So who knows? It's a toss-up. Again, Justin and I are picking the Bills to win. I think that the Bills can absolutely go on a hot streak. And they're already in one. They just got to maintain it. And they maintained a big one last year. They were just one away from the dance. And, hey, I think that the Bills learned their lesson last year in the playoffs, and anything is possible. So, put us down for a Bills W.